We're spending $300,000 and more, and they're continually trying to reduce the class size. Let me tell you how far it can go. In places like South Korea and Australia and England and Germany and the other industrial countries in the world, their costs are nowhere like that, nor is their class size. They typically have about 40 kids. My own son, Tom Roeser, who has a master's in engineering from Purdue, taught engineering at Purdue, has a master's in finance from the University of Chicago. His start in school was in a class of 55 kids, which was the common size. My son is in his approaching his 60s now, but there was a time when the Catholic schools had class sizes typically of 55 kids.
Jack, I grew up and went to St. Joseph's Catholic School in Aurora. All of my classes through my 8 years of grade school were anywhere from 45 to 55 or 56 kids.
Mrs. Clary, not a nun, in the 4th grade in Mary Seat of Wisdom School, took Tom and 5 others and taught them 5th grade and skipped them into 6th, with 55 kids in the classroom.
Right.
So this whole business of reducing class size is merely a thing by the union
to get more teachers,
get more people to pay dues into their pocket. But it's outrageous that this education system, our children should be at the mercy of the handling of, this thing is all controlled by the public union. That is what runs a school. It isn't the local people voting for their school board, because they are just beat down by the immense power of all of the money that the teachers' unions have. So again, I'd say, listen, the schools are the worst managed organization in the state. Just be patient here. We'll straighten you out here.
That's why charter schools are.
There's more to it than that. They're the worst managed thing there is. Why does it work at all? Because I'd say 50% of the teachers have a dedication to their job, and despite the hamstringing by the stinking union and their rules and the bad administration of the idiots that are running the school system, 50% of the teachers are heroes. I would say the other 50% have retired while still on the job.
Yeah.
That's enough of my rant for now, but you could, by straightening out the education system of the Illinois, you could cure all of the problems with taxes and debt in the state of Illinois.
I just want to add to what you're saying, and you mentioned something compelling: public sector unions. I do believe it was Democrat Franklin Roosevelt who said there is no provision for public sector unions. They shouldn't even be around. So now you were talking about your stepson being a graduate from Harvard at a charter school. What is your feeling on school choice?
Oh, I'm a strong believer and strong supporter of school choice. I think it's critical. Look, that opens it up to competition. There's nothing like competition to drive better performance. If we competition in schools, you're going to have the best schools succeeding and drawing more students. The bad schools will eventually be driven out of business.
Why does bureaucracy frown upon competition so much, do you think?
Well, because it means you have to perform, and the unions have been so strongly against that. Treat everybody equal, reward everybody the same, pay everybody the same. It's based on how long you've taught, not how well you teach, and that's exactly the wrong thing. You've got to you got to pay people on how good of a job they do if you want success.
Doesn't that
take the charter schools and let's examine exactly what you've got in place. Consider more and more of the kids in the city of Chicago are going to charter schools. Incidentally, you got Bruce Rauner, who used to run outfits that got the money, investments to pay the huge costs of these pensions, and he knows a lot about it. But Rauner and other good
runs outfits? Runs what do you?
Rauner, and in a different part of his life, and others like him have brought charter schools into the city of Chicago, because these schools stink. You've got a lot of poor people of different backgrounds,
and
they deserve a decent education above everything else. And the public schools stink to high heaven. They weren't good when I went there.
Interesting question. The African American community obviously wants a better education for their children. Charter schools are providing some opportunity for that. They're providing some choice for that. And that's certainly historically been a Republican issue. Why aren't more African Americans supporting that kind of Republican initiative?
They just don't get it because the newspapers have been on the side of the stinking union. We're a public service
narrative. It's the agenda narrative that is being controlled by the mainstream media.
Be quiet a minute and you'll learn something. The fact of the matter, in Chicago, where we do have a small part of maybe 20% or so, I can run out the figures, are in charter schools rather than the stinking public schools. Charter school is still a public school, but it runs, I think, in Chicago on about 70% of the money input that they get into the stinking lousy schools. So you're getting a better product at 70% of the price. I happen to have been involved in the installation of a charter school out in Kane County, and that's a 1,000-kid school. It's the biggest one in the state.